remember when I started, I was started on a salary of 2,500 naira per month. And then you ask yourself, for how long will you do this before you can find your footing financially? What it means is that you may not be able to rent a house comfortably. You may not be able to drive a car, as it were. And even to buy the kind of well-tailored suits that will give you the image of a lawyer, and the fine shoes to package yourself very well. All of those things would come easy. My name is Arome Okwori. I was born in the late 60s during the Civil War in my mother's village, but basically grew up in northern Nigeria. Grew up in Azare. My growing up here is Azare, in the present-day Katagun local government area of Bauchi State, through to Benue, Plateau, and then Kogi State. I started primary school specifically in Lafia, in present-day Nasarawa State, in the mid-70s. And then from there, I ended my primary school in Local Government Education Authority Primary School in the Kina in Kogi State. And I then proceeded to the famous Government Secondary School, the Kina, which was began as a middle school and old school, finished in 1985. Thereafter, I proceeded to Benue State Polytechnic in Bukuru, where I did studied a diploma in law. Graduated, had a certificate, diploma certificate, and later on to the University of Jos in the early 90s. And I graduated from the University of Jos in 1996. I went to the Nigerian Law School in Lagos. Was called to bar in early 1998. Thereafter, of course, went for the youth service in Ondo State, specifically in Ifon, in present-day Ondo State, also local government, specifically. Thereafter, I came back to Jos and settled here, beginning as a legal practitioner. Specifically, I started my career as a private legal practitioner with the law office of Joshua S. Barao and Co. So that is basically about my early life and educational journey. Yes, so I am a lawyer, currently into private practice for a long time, and then in the firm of AM Okwori and Co. Before I joined the University of Jos as a law teacher, specifically about 6 years or so ago. So I'm also currently a law teacher and a mentor of students. In my secondary school days, I had a bias towards the arts, and from that time I developed a passion for the legal profession. So English language, English literature was my keen subjects that I liked. And seeing lawyers also then, their conduct, their courage, their appeal, and then of course the whole thought that, look, you could be involved in the process of helping others to be able to get justice was a big attraction for me. So, but over time, you know, and then of course, when I finished from secondary school, I had to go for a diploma in law. And that was a preparatory stage for me before going to the university. And getting admission into the university to study law became a huge challenge for me. And I saw, oh, if this is such a challenge, it means that, look, the devil knows what impact I can make if I become a legal practitioner in Nigeria. And so he wants to cut short my ambition and my passion. But the more those obstacles were thrown up, the more the challenges, the more determined I was to ensure that I fulfilled my life dream of becoming a lawyer, and God helped me. The work of a lawyer is very demanding. It involves a lot of travel, involves a lot of study. Sometimes when you have a case, your mind is all there. Sometimes you are sleeping, you are thinking about the case. When you are traveling, you are reading. You are waking up, you are reading. You are surrounded by books all the time. But you find that God did not call you just to be a lawyer. God called you to raise a family and to prepare them from heaven. So the challenge of making yourself available to the family is always there. And you have to define your boundaries. As per look, when there is a conflict between the pursuit of career and family, which one first? And I dare to say family. Coronavirus, pandemic, and the lockdown has taught us that in the end, what matters most is family. I attended a conference of regional conference of Christian lawyers in Africa, in Uganda, in 2013, and there was a senior lawyer, an equivalent of the senior advocate of Nigeria from Kenya, Mr. Fred Ujambo, and he told us that one of the lessons that God has taught him in his practice is a lesson that he should put family first before practice, and that in all his shadows, in all his engagements, in all his meetings, and in all his work, he tries to see how to locate the family within the context of what he does. And that was quite inspiring. And for me, I know that by the grace of God, family comes first. So, as I trust God to give attention to family and to attend to the needs of the family and to sit down to hear the little boys talk and to talk with them and with my wife and my family, I have no doubt in my mind that God will not allow me to fail in the legal marketplace because I have chosen to do what is right. So family comes first, the legal profession and the legal practice comes next. And the family should be the hub around which the practice of the law will revolve. So my wife is there to help me fulfill my ministry as a lawyer. So if I leave my family behind, certainly success as a lawyer will not be complete. There are quite a number of challenges, I must say, given the kind of environment in which you operate. One of the challenges, one of the major challenges you find is that particularly building a career as a lawyer is a process that requires a lot of patience. In our own environment here, we find that most of the law firms, if you get an employment, the pay is very meager. So beginning as a young lawyer financially, it can be very, very challenging. And now if you put that against the so much expectation that you have from your student days, that when you now become a lawyer, you know, all will be cool, all will be fine, all will be just go the way you think it should go. As soon as you come into the practice, more often than not, you find that the opposite becomes the case. And then it becomes an entirely different experience for you. And that's why you find that oftentimes, even those who train as lawyers, begin to take some other things just to survive, because they feel, look, what is the future here in me? How long can I wait? So part of it is that you may not be able to marry as early as you think. You may have to work for 7-8 years before you are able to get married, and all of that. The other challenge too is that you also find, particularly as a Christian lawyer, a Christian, people have very wrong perception about lawyers. That is true to some extent because of the nature of the work. But you also find that some of the things that happen in the profession may not really accord with your ideal worldview of what a Christian should be doing. And so those demands will be placed on you. You may come across cases that your conscience may not be comfortable with, and you have to make a hard choice. Value judgment between what is right and wrong, what is fair and what is unfair, what is just and what is unjust. Those value judgments, very important, and sometimes you need to stamp your feet and say, no, I can't go this way. And what that means is that in terms of Naira and Kobo, you'll be losing out. So all of those things. And then of course, you find that those without boundaries are making it, quote and unquote. But because you are not living for the now, you are living for the future, you also know that you are not everybody is doing it. You remember that you are different, and you remember that you stand for something. So that in itself is a big challenge that confronts a Christian lawyer. To stand with integrity, to stand always for the truth. It may mean people calling you pastor, even when you are not ordained as one. But those are the things that the challenges you face. The challenge to stand for what is true, what is right, and what is righteous always. The Christian actually is not an ordinary person. Ordinary person in the sense that a Christian has the Spirit of God living in him, guiding him, instructing him, teaching him, directing him, leading him. So one of the ways that you can succeed in overcoming these challenges is by putting your trust in God. When you trust in God, when you have faith in God, all the things you perceive to be impossibilities, God will turn them around to become possibilities for you. God will grant you the grace to be able to survive the hostile environment in which you live. What are those virtues that you need? The virtues of patience, the virtues of self-control, the virtues of discipline, personal discipline, the virtues of integrity, the virtues of gentleness, the virtues of self-control. Those are the virtues that you need. And the Holy Spirit packages all of these things and makes them available at your disposal to enable you to function. And so even when others are saying it is not easy, you can say, for me, it is easy by the grace of God. And you will find that with patience, even though in the beginning, the money may not be there, the cars may not be there, the flashy cars, the big phones, the well-tailored suits, they may not be there. But with patience, with trust in God, with humility, with self-control, with self-discipline, with hard work, with integrity, you build a good foundation that over time, the cars will come, the buildings will come, the big phones will come, the family will come, the clients will come, and all for the glory of God. So, you know that, look, you are not living for the now, you are living for the future. You are not living for yourself, you are living for God. So, with that kind of mindset, you find that God will help you to overcome whatever challenges that may be there. And when you look back, you find that when others are packing their bags to move to the next city, you will find that God is settling you down as an oak tree, and you become an umbrella for others to come to rest under. On 7th September 2001, I said my last prayer in this town. The house in which I was living, into the other area, was surrounded in the midnight by neighbors who were Muslims chanting Allah Akbar. I said my last prayer, but by the special grace of God, we survived it, and I'm still here to tell the story. And it's an experience I can never forget, and it reminds me always that we are living on borrowed time, and any time you can live. So the life I have is an opportunity to make a difference. I could have been gone 19 years ago, and also 10 years down the line, 2001, 2002, I was very sick for nearly a year. Nobody knew what was wrong with me. I went to several hospitals. I didn't go to work. I was lying down sick, but miraculously I survived, and I'm still here to tell the story. And I know that challenges may come, difficult times may come, but if you trust in God, those things will not overcome you, because God is with you. And again, I have a daughter that is a special child. My daughter Betta. Betta was born a difficult birth that my wife had, and about 8-9 months she started convulsing, and that slowed her down in achieving all her milestones as a child. Today, Bethel is a special child, and every day we wake up is a new experience. It's like a school taking care of her. Very difficult experience, but God has granted us grace to take care of Bethel. And we have faith that one day Bethel will stand on her feet to walk. We have faith that one day Bethel will speak audibly for everybody to hear. So I've come to see that every day life is an examination, and you can pass the test, and that will be your promotion. So I've been through a lot of tests in life. I've just mentioned a few, but those tests have become stepping stones to testimonies, and stepping stones into becoming who God wants me to be. So I thank God, because life is a basket full of sweetness and bitterness and joy and sadness. I'll never forget my immediate elder brother died. He has so much dream. He has so much potential. We loved him so much, but he left us. And so life also, dying is part of life. Difficult, painful experience. But when you trust in God, all of those things, God is working even through them for a purpose that will bring glory to his name. What we pass through today is a preparation for a better tomorrow. I'd like to say that family is important. Because family is important, the devil knows that. The devil attacks family. If there's any value that God has added to my life, apart from being saved and being alive, the fact that he blessed me with a good wife, a caring wife, a loving wife, and a loving family, that has been a great source of joy and encouragement to me. And I encourage my listener to cultivate the value of family, particularly godly family, godly home. I have a godly family, a godly home. 99.1% of our problems are solved. because you are walking in God. Secondly, life is not a bed of roses. There will be difficulties, there will be challenges. I mentioned a few. But it is not the problem that defines who you are. You should be the one who defines the problems. So if you are in God and problems come, and you understand your identity in God, you will always overcome. For those who want to take the career in the legal profession, I want to say, let them come. There's so much room in the sky up there where you can achieve a lot. There's vacancy up there where you strive, you work hard, you trust God, you are patient. There's always room for you. Don't give up. Trust God. Work on integrity. Do your part. Do your best. You have no regrets. Secondly, he talk about material things. Material things should not define who you are. You should define what material things mean to you. But if it pleases the Lord and you follow Him, material things will come. Money will come. Car will come. Buildings will come as you trust the Lord. Above all, because you have a true sense of identity and these things do not define you. Even when you don't have them, it will not take away your joy. The code of life. Be patient. Trust God. Be moderate in what you do. Never